2, and here's Modi.
Hello. It's so good to be back in the studio. And as you can tell by looking at Periel, we are in the fall. New York gives you fall once in a while. Once in a while, it doesn't go from 90 degrees to 10 degrees. It gives you that little in the middle, and she's giving us a mock neck black look, and you're about to go chop trees somewhere. But I will be in a black T-shirt till I will die. My guest today is Scott Hercman.
Yes.
Hercman. Yeah.
It is that like perfect like few weeks where you can like wear a jacket, that one light jacket you have.
I think the clothing
like
joke
weeks.
part of this entire
It's
session
over.
is finished. We definitely finished that. I don't know.
Well, I'm very excited about a good jacket.
Well, you can tell there's comedians and there's writers. He's a writer. He's like, what? I can get 5 more lines into this. I can do 2 more jokes and 2 more. And Leo's wearing yellow and this is da-da-da-da-da. And it's all... But you're a comedian, you're a writer. Obviously, your biggest covered, your biggest honor is that you're a senior producer on The Daily Show with Trevor Noah. That's your like immediate card, right?
Yeah, right away.
Okay, and then there's a million projects that you do that are all amazing. And when you told me about them, you blew my mind away with all of them. But so, would you say comedian first or writer first? When you say I'm a writer, I'm a comedian, I'm a comedic writer or a comedian.
I would say writer first because I like the writing part of it better.
Yeah.
I enjoy that whole process of like
Right.
being in the room and writing. Performing is fun sometimes, so like in that sense, yeah, I'm a comedian. But I don't think I have like what you have where you go on stage and you're a comedian performer that just crushes it. I don't know if I would do like an hour.
Really?
I don't know, maybe I would.
No, it would be a different hour. It would be more just like
Yeah.
you just get into their heads. You
Like
know?
when I think about like what I would do for an hour, it's not. I'd be like, oh, I want to do a million different things. I want an animated component. I want a musical component. I'm trying to think of like what the whole thing would be. But maybe it would all suck also. I don't know.
No, having a musical component's amazing. I remember in the Catskills, I used to work there, and they used to have a band in the back, and I would like literally turn to them and go 5, 6, 7, 8, and they would do nothing. I would tell them to do nothing. I would turn to them, I'm not singing, and it would be a big, even a non musical element to it. How's working on The Daily Show? How's it going over there?
It's going good. It's a very interesting job because like we're touching on very important political subjects some days, but then some days it's just a comedy show where we're making jokes. Like the distinction I use is like one time Chris Matthews farted on TV,
Nice.
and we did an entire show about whether or not he farted and if it's happened before. And then the next day, we're like talking about, like we did an entire thing like that. And then the next day, we're talking about like women's healthcare rights. So it's like, oh, those are 2 very different days, but it kind of gives you like a good flex of working on different things.
With a show like that, you don't have to be like when CNN, Fox, all those things. Yeah, they have to drill miserable things into your life. This is something where you can always just throw a fart joke into it.
Exactly.
So yeah, and you've been there how long?
I've been there almost 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did you do to get that? Because I'll tell you something. I have a million friends who are certain that they are comedic writers. One of them is actually sponsoring 5 episodes of the show. I'm not going to mention his name, Brian Gross. But he once in a while goes on a rant in his head of something he thinks is funny, and he will text me like a 9 thumb push up scroll of this idea, and then that's it. He's done. But you follow through. Obviously, you are like. How did you know you were a comedic writer and so this is what I'm doing? This is like. And audition for the show, however you audition for the show, and how did you get the part to be a writer on the Daily Show? Just so people know, just so people know what they would have to do to become a writer on a show.
It's a little more producer than writer. I don't want to get in trouble if someone's watching, but it was something I knew I wanted to do as a kid, and then I made movies in high school there was like a Sharia competition, which I'm sure some of the listeners know what that is. It was like color war in school for 2 weeks.
Sharia?
Yeah, that's what they called color war in my high school.
Where'd you go to high school?
Where'd you go to
North
high
Shore
school?
Hebrew Academy in Great Neck.
Oh, I know the North Shore Hebrew Academy.
So I made.
Did you get into Harvard? Did they get you into Harvard?
No, they couldn't get only NYU.
Only NYU?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's
Which
pretty
means
good.
you probably deserve to go to like Hunter College, right? But since you went to North Shore Hebrew Academy, they got you into NYU.
No, it was me.
If you could have gotten into NYU, they would have gotten you into Columbia. If you could have gotten into Columbia, Harvard. Do you understand where I'm going with
I
this
get it.
North Shore
I'm
Hebrew
with you.
Academy? Okay.
Fantastic school.
It is
Yeah.
it is a fantastic school. My friend was honored by them. Dina Ohev Shalom, she was honored, and her kids go to the school.
Did
there.
you perform at the?
I
at
did.
the dinner?
She said I will only be your honoree if Modi does a show, and that was and it was an amazing show.
That's what they said to get him into NYU too.
Oh man, are you funnier with sleeves? Is that what it is?
When I talk, I'm funny.
She's been coming to this thing in tank tops. This is the first time I've
It's
seen
been
her
like
dressed.
97 degrees the entire time I've been coming here.
Okay, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No.
Okay.
So I made all these movies in high school, and then
No, Sharia. What does Sharia
So
mean?
Sharia was like, you know what color war is?
Yeah.
Which is I learned later in life is like a very weird thing to say to people.
I
Because
recently.
you tell someone, oh, I did a
Not-
color war. Doesn't sound good.
What's color war?
Wow, there you go. You don't know what color war is?
I'm
You
not
do
your
know, but-
entire audience.
Okay, but so the other day I explained to Leo, who's one of the producers of the show here, who's not Jewish and never went to sleepaway camp. In sleepaway camp, the last 2-3 days, they divide the entire camp into 2 colors. And you have to wear either black or
Right.
white or whatever the colors are, and you compete against each other, and they go crazy, and it is the stupidest thing, in my opinion. They love it. I hated it. But go ahead. So Sharia means
So Sharia was like their version of color war.
okay.
And we used to make movies. One part of it was like a movie, like a mini film festival for grade to grade.
Okay.
And I made these, and I used like those skills I learned to get into NYU Film School. And then I learned when I got to NYU that I knew nothing about anything. I was just a kid from Long Island who thought like, oh, I'm funny, I'm a performer. And through meeting some great teachers, I got an internship at The Daily Show.
Wow.
And then just over the years, I moved on to production assistant, found a way to get into the writer's room, started pitching stories.
Wow.
And then, I was there for 1 year with Jon Stewart. And then luckily when Trevor took over, just like one time I spoke up in this meeting, and like nobody used to speak up, and pitched a story, and he liked it. And he was like, keep bringing more stories like that. And through doing that.
What was the story?
I still remember it. I read a study that scientists found out that dinosaurs, like a Tyrannosaurus Rex, didn't roar like you see in movies. That it was more likely they quacked like ducks.
Wow.
Really?
So I just like pitched this story, and they were like, "We got to do this. Also, we're gonna dub over scenes of Jurassic Park, like the dinosaur quacking like a duck."
That's hilarious.
That's hilarious.
And then he was like, I need you. So I wasn't like a news guy growing up. I wasn't the CNN, MSNBC guy. But he said, I like those types of stories. So I started trying to find these weird things that were out there.
That's
And
fun.
They should probably do a Jurassic Park where all the animals are Jewish. Like,
That's
Jurassic Park.
hysterical.
Ugh, my arms! I can't reach this coffee. I can't get. Can you reach this coffee for me? I can't reach this coffee.
That's hysterical.
You should by now have 3 more lines to follow up. What I just did.
If I had my computer out, I'd be.
You remind me of a young Frank Santopadre. You remind me. I recently met with him, and he's amazing, and the jokes come out. But you're like a young. It's a compliment.
Thank you.
It's definitely a compliment. Yeah.
He wasn't sure.
I'm gonna search him later. Be like, do I look like this guy? Is that what it is?
No, not for looks. I learned a long time ago, never tell anybody that they look like somebody.
Yeah.
It will only, unless it's Brad Pitt, do not say, hey, you know who you look like? Because it will just ruin their day. It will just do not. listeners, never tell anybody that they look like somebody that you know and then show them a picture. It's the worst.
My sister-in-law all the time tells me I look like a young Matt Damon, and that should be a compliment. But I like makes me think, oh, what does that mean?
That means she needs glasses. That's what that means. She needs, and you're an attractive guy, but I mean, you're not. You know.
But then it was a few weeks later, a homeless guy said, like, hold up, I got to take a picture with Matt Damon and pose next to me. And I was like, holy shit, maybe it's real or everybody's fucking with me.
Oh, my God.
Well, you should just start telling people that you're Matt Damon's brother or cousin. Like, you should use that to your advantage.
I think I'm too Jewish to ever get away with that.
I will tell you, one time I walked into a restaurant with my mother and my aunt. This was when Asia de Cuba was the restaurant. You could not get into it. It was, and I walked in and with my mother and my aunt, and they couldn't get. And I said to the guy, and my aunt had a boyfriend that was actually wearing a suit, an Israeli guy, and I said to the maitre d', this is Shimon Peres's wife. And her sister, and they gave us a table.
I love that.
It was, and they fit the role. Like if you were casting from Central Casting, Shimon Peres's wife, and that would have been it.
So good.
Anyway, so yeah, you can use that. Now you're doing all these other projects that are so amazing. You told me all about them. There's the one that you're the most into right now is this comic book thing.
Yeah.
You said don't give too much information now.
I could give a little information.
Give
a little taste.
Give us what you can give us. Give us make us thirsty for more.
I'm working on this kids show called Zombie Roommate, and it's about someone approached me with this idea to make a zombie puppet, and he said, "Can you write a TV show about this for kids?" We did test episodes. We had people from Sesame Street, people from The Daily Show, comedians from New York. We did a really legit shoot. We shot the show. We're still working on it. It's getting into some film festivals now, which is really exciting. And now he approached me about doing a comic book about it. I've never done a comic book. I have no experience. I was asked in a meeting the other day, like, what are my favorite comic books? I said, Captain America.
I would say the ones with the pictures. That's my favorite comic books. The ones that have pictures.
And so now we're working on this comic book, Zombie Roommate, and hopefully it's gonna some big news coming soon. The art looks great, and it should be a very exciting project.
That's so amazing.
Yeah.
Sounds like my 8-year-old would be really into that.
It's really for kids.
Yeah.
I like test it on my nephew all the time. He actually gave me a note on it the other day. He didn't like a part of it, and I was like, "Oh, that's actually a very good note." And
How old's your nephew?
He's 8 years old.
Oh wow, yeah.
And I took his note, and then I told him about it. Couldn't have cared less. He's like, "Show it to me when it's done."
I'll tell you something I once did that I literally just dropped. Whenever I do shows, sometimes there's little young kids in the front row. Because if I'm working an event and it's the families and this, so there's all ages, literally from 80 to 8 in the audience, and the kids are always up front. So I always like turn to one of the kids and I have like a joke or two that I have just for the kids. You know, how come the birthday boy spent the entire party in the bathroom? He was a party pooper. And the kids go berserk. The kids lose it. And even the adults, they can't get, he's working the kids, he's working the adults, he's working. And then one day I got books and online, a bunch of jokes for kids. And I actually went in and recorded them. I was going to make a joke album just for kids.
It's great.
And then I taped it, and then whenever I hear my own voice, I just want to vomit. So
how are you doing right now?
No, I barely hear. This is like not, but it's very hard for me to listen to myself afterwards. I'm the worst at that. But I'm getting better though. I'm getting better. But yeah, kids are a market. Anything to occupy children now is a market. The parents need to just be able to hand them something and go away. Right. And speaking of which, you just got married too, no?
I did get married 2 years ago.
Wow, congratulations!
Yeah.
And you recently had you came to see me at City Winery, and the next day you were going on your honeymoon or something to Greece.
I had just come back from my honeymoon in Greece.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how was it?
Greece is unbelievable.
How's your wife?
My wife is great.
And how is she?
That'll change.
What does she do? What is your wife? The wife of a writer. What does she do?
My wife works in jewelry.
Okay.
She's and as the wife of a writer, she has to listen to every idea I have at any time. And
you just hit her with them.
Hit her all the time. And her go-to line, if she doesn't like it, is, I think I just need to see it in person. I need to see it performed.
Wow, that's her. You stink.
I figured it out. She was saying it a bunch, and I was realizing like, oh, why do you keep saying this line? And then I realized, oh, it's when she has no notes or nothing to say.
And when she's blown away, what's the line?
She jumps in. She's like, oh, you should add this, and that.
Wow.
And actually, I think the best joke I ever wrote, I attribute to her.
And we need to hear that now.
It's the whole thing, but I do a whole bit about how there's nothing worse as a Jewish kid when all the non-Jews are getting cool gifts, and you get that laminated piece of paper that says a tree in Israel has been planted in your honor.
Go explain that to a non-Jewish audience.
Well, explain that to the audience anyway.
I'll try to right now. So Leo, in Israel, there's this thing to build from the Jewish National Fund, right?
Yeah.
So you pay, and they plant a tree in your honor, and then when you actually get to Israel, you say, "Hi, I have this, look, and they bring everybody to see the same tree. That's your tree. That's your tree." And so that's a good joke.
And you get a lot of those certificates as a kid.
Right.
I have and after I started telling the joke, my dad would start sending me all the certificates that he found in my house.
Wait, I hope I'm not dating myself, but in my bar mitzvah, we used to get those Series EE bonds. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
No.
Never mind. We're gonna cut that right out of the show. No. We never
What
got
is that?
It's nothing. Wow. Never mind what that is. That's what they gave you back in the day for your bar mitzvah gifts. Okay. So now, are you going up on stage anywhere?
Every once in a while, I get up. I feel like I get the bug.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I love this, and
Yeah.
then I'm like, oh, I'm working on this. I'm working on that. I love performing. I worked with a sketch group for 2 years, so we would do like a little stand-up at the beginning of the show. We would do some offbeat shows where it was just stand-up, and that was great to do, but that was only once a month, so I don't know if I could really say, oh, I'm out there performing every night.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do a sketch group thing. I took acting classes once, and great teacher, and I remember we were doing a scene, and there was other actors. They weren't comedians. So we were in this acting class, and 4 or 5 of us on stage, and then he goes, cut. Okay, Modi, where are you standing? I go, oh, stage front, center. He goes, where's everybody else? Back there somewhere. What's that telling you? I needed to go deliver my lines from the front of the stage. And then he taught me how to work with the other people, and actually it was a very good experience. Yeah. Sketch comedy is hard.
Yeah,
because you're only as good as the guy who stinks, right? It's like the chain, no?
Yeah, it's also, we had 11 people in our group when we were all there. And I used to also direct and cast the shows. So it's really a grind also because everybody wants their moment. Nobody wants to be the straight person in the sketch that's like, oh, I'm just the regular waiter, like taking the orders while you do the funny thing. So it's a balance of like really trying to figure out where everyone can be their best and do their best.
Absolutely. And this comedy festival, the film festival that your thing is in, that your, not thing, your...
The zombie
roommate,
The
roommate.
The zombie roommate is in this film festival. How much fun is it to have something in a film festival?
Very cool.
Isn't it cool?
You feel like you're on top of the world for about a weekend, and then you come back home and you're like, oh, I'm just myself.
I was in 2 film festivals. I had a film I was in, and it was just basically, I could tell why it was in, because I was a chassid, and they just wanted to have in the brochure, when you open, all of a sudden you see 2 chassidic guys standing there. Oh, wow, yeah, oh, never go see that one.
Hit the Jewish diversity box.
I can tell you what happened. It was this film I did that was called Waiting for Woody Allen. It won the LA Short Film Festival, and then it did like a lot of other film festivals, but one of them was One of them was we went to go see this film, and it was it was playing at where the ballet is, Lincoln Center, but they turned it into a theater and whatever, and it was packed. And our film played before this other film that was called Hollywood and the Holocaust.
Oh my
So
God.
our was it 4, 5, 6 minute film played. It was hysterical. People loved it, and then boom, hard cut, and it goes right into this 2-hour movie describing how Hollywood portrays the Holocaust, how they make the mud of Auschwitz and this and that, and people were like, at the end, people felt like they themselves came off the trains, and then they brought us back up to like no one was. It was the weirdest experience ever. Then they brought us to speak out the film, but by then everybody already forgot about the short film. They completely forgot about us. But film festivals are a lot of fun, and if you just commit to one and go see everything, it's a lot of fun.
The first one I ever got into, I was in college, and
Yeah.
I made a film. It was called One of Us. It was about an elf who is trying to get a job for Santa Claus, but he finds out he's Jewish, so they don't let him in. So then he decides he's going to be way more Jewish instead. And I thought it was so amazing. I was 19. I was on top of the world. We get invited to a film festival. I'm like, let's go. It's in Atlanta. I go with my dad. I go with my best friend. We get there, and it was on what's called a goat farm. And it was in a barn with goats running around. Like,
No.
it was literally a farm. And I get there, and I was like, oh, this is what real life is. Because, like, I thought there was going to be a red carpet, a tuxedo, a question answer. Literally, it's in a goat. There's goats walking through the film.
Oh my God, that's just.
I love that you said it was in what's called a goat farm.
Well, I didn't know what a goat farm was.
It's a farm with goats, I think.
Yeah, no, it's a farm that
Do they
only
have-
has goats.
Do they have farms that are just for goats?
It sounds
This
like
one.
it. They're called goat farms.
I've never been to and I haven't been to a farm, and
I
I
know.
how
When
long.
was the last time?
I don't
When was
know.
the last time you were at a farm?
I have friends who they bought a farm as a second home, but
Right,
there's
in the
nothing farm
Hamptons.
going on there. They have a hot tub and a pool. That's what the farm.
But they have a
is.
sign that says
But
the
there's
farm.
a sign. This used to be a farm, 1812. Some guy used to own this and his family, and they have a whole story, and no one cares, and no one's planting anything or milking anything. It's very in now to have a farm.
Yeah, I think because of COVID, it became kind of chic to have a farm.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long is Zombie Roommate?
Each episode's about 8 minutes, and we did 4 episodes.
Okay.
One thing I'm dying to ask you is this: since you're a writer on a million different mediums, the attention span of people now is that of a crack baby. No one has like. I mean, you see when I post something on Instagram, it's 30 seconds. I can tell it's too long for them. And then TikTok, it's a boom, 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 boom. Right, you're moving along. How is that not interfered? Why am I looking at the word interfered? How has that affected your writing for shows and for all your projects?
Yeah, I like exactly what you said. Like, we post stuff at The Daily Show, and a clip that's 30 seconds, that's not that good, gets thousands and thousands of likes, views, and then a 5-minute, nuanced sketch with jokes that's like really produced well, that thousands of more dollars goes into, gets 500 likes,
You're
a couple
kidding.
retweets,
Yeah.
but that's just like the way of the world. So, there's also a TV show that's on every night that hundreds of thousands of people watch. So you assume, it's being watched there at least. But it's a very different world in terms of
No offense.
people posting on all those
I don't
mediums.
sit and watch The Daily Show. If there's an amazing clip, I'll get it somehow from somebody.
Yeah,
It's what? Go
Well,
ahead.
I was going to say, do you think that maybe like it's just because it's the phone, like it's the form? So it's like if you're on the computer or you're in front of a television, your attention span is longer. But if you're on Instagram or TikTok, you dated yourself with those bonds? I just said TikTok.
My Series E bonds now are like, but go ahead, Tic Tac. Let me hear.
Is that you're anticipating like 30 seconds here, like but you can watch like the entire Daily Show. Millions of people are watching the whole show.
So
hope.
I love to
Well, it
watch.
sounds like it.
Wherever I am, I never have any attention spans or anything. So I always watch what people are doing. And when I watch people on their phones, I see their their knee-jerk reactions and like what it's. You have to have a joke right away or something, a crazy word, right away. And then they'll give it 2 more seconds and then they'll give it that 30 seconds. But to have like opening and then the guy's walking into a room and he closes the door behind him, no. They need to be boom, right into it.
Have you noticed a difference in stand-up? Like in the past, I don't know, 10 years or 5 years, like since all of these social media, like have you noticed people's attention spans that are different in real life too?
No, if someone's at a comedy show, they're there, they're committed.
Okay.
They're there. They're in it. They came for that. It's I mean, comedy is not just at a stand-up comedy club. It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
It's the same thing with movies too, with like opening credits. Like my 5-year-old niece was watching The Wizard of Oz, and it starts with like 5 minutes of every person who worked in the film with that long orchestra music. I was like,
Speed it up, guys.
Who sat through this?
Speed it up.
Netflix and all those other ones. Once you watch the first episode, they give you skip intro.
Yeah.
Skip intro.
Brilliant. It's brilliant.
It's brilliant. It's no one has an attention span anymore. Need to bang. It has to be the laugh right away. It's hard. There's no setups. It's like watching Norm Macdonald, who's the king of being able to work without a laugh until whatever he's building up for. It is one of the hardest things to do in comedy. You see many comedians actually laughing at their own jokes because they need to hear a laughter, and then it makes the audience laugh, and the attention span of people today are literally that of a crack baby. Yeah.
I think it's also probably, I'd be curious what you think as well, but I think it's the difference between writing comedy in any form other than for stand-up. It's so different than like writing jokes for stand-up. Like you have to be so much faster on stage than you have the luxury of, taking your time when it's written or a sketch or I don't know. That's I think for me one of the more challenging parts of stand-up when, I'm thinking about writing jokes.
Yeah. I mean, when we used to do the sketches, we knew, like, all right, you need everybody in on the sketch right away.
Yeah.
Or, like, you're not going to have them for any part of the sketch, no matter what happens at the end. So
that's interesting.
So for us, it was, a big thing we did was, like, how can we be physical right away at the top? So maybe they're not laughing at something, but they're at least enjoying, like, oh, these people are into it. They're excited. There's some adrenaline here. And tackling it that way.
One thing that made me laugh was we got your bio and all your information. You're a skier.
Yeah,
you're a skier, and I love skiing too. And then they said like he skied in this and that and Tokyo and Israel. Where would you put that? I mean, I know Israel every 4 years gets a snowstorm, and the whole world goes crazy, and social media. Look, Jerusalem has snowflakes. Mashiach is coming. And then there's a mall in Israel that has like a little slide.
Yeah.
Where did you ski in Israel? That it's on
in
your
the Hercman.
Yeah.
And like how what like
it was I've skied like crazy backcountry Canada, like you said, crazy places.
Yeah.
Skiing in Israel was the most unique thing I've ever seen in my life because we get there are thousands of people online for the chairlift. We get there like, oh fuck, everyone in Israel's a skier. Found out that was just the line for people who want to ride it around like a carousel all day. The actual chairlift had not one single person on it.
You're kidding me. They just rode the line around?
They just rode it around.
No, it's not a chairlift. It's a rope that brings you up, right?
No, not the rope. Like the chair that you sit on to go up. They just rode it around, and that was their day. They
didn't get off at the top.
Didn't get off at the top. Just kept going. Oh. And they're buying popcorn. Like it was like a vibe
funny
to ride this chairlift.
No,
Meanwhile, I'm there with my skis.
You're sitting there with your shoko in your hand.
I thought you were going to say it was so unique because there was no snow.
No, there was no snow. But
there's no snow there. Are you kidding me?
That was like skiing on mud. That could be fun for its own reasons.
No, so when we came to America, my parents were figuring out what we're going to do at first. And, skiing was our thing. We used to go skiing. Vacations came. We went to Mount Snow. They took a condo. We skied. And one time when I went to Kutcher's, which was a hotel in the Catskills, they had a ski thing. I swear to God, this table was higher than the mountain. And it wasn't a chair that you'd go up, because that's way too dangerous. It's a rope that pulls you up the mountain.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I remember
and then
that.
brings you to the top.
Yes.
And then you literally had to push yourself down. And at the bottom you hear, "Be careful! Be careful! Okay, take his picture, but be careful!" That was like the Kutcher's ski experience.
Those are the Jews skiing, right?
The Jews ski,
The
but
Jews
don't
skiing.
Jews ski. Jews love to ski. There is a whole, even Orthodox Jews that have
Really?
they big time.
Look, the two of you
Utah.
nodding like
Jews
this is
love-
like this is not common knowledge. The two of you are sitting there
No,
nodding.
they
like,
were, I did a Passover program in last April, in Utah at the what was the name of the hotel? The Montage it was the most amazing ski, and it was and they weren't joking. They went skiing and they had kosher food for them on the mountain, the whole thing. But like it's a ski. It's serious skiing. They love it. It's a stereotype to think that Jews can't ski. We do ski.
Love skiing.
Love it.
When I was a kid, we didn't have cell phones yet, so we went with two families. We used to get walkie-talkies. Yeah, sorry. With the bonds, dating myself here.
When I was a kid, they
Did you
didn't
have
have cell
Tic Tacs?
phones. How's this?
We did we did Tic Tacs
When I
and
was
bonds.
a kid, they didn't have answering machines. How's that for?
Well, we got walkie-talkies from my dad, and we would be on channel 613 because there's 613 mitzvot for Jews. So like
Oh
that was like,
my
oh, you'll never
God.
forget what channel you have to be on. You're on 613. But then like 1 year, a bunch of other Jews joined that channel.
And they all
also.
are 613s?
All 613.
there are 613 mitzvot for Jews.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
What is that? I don't know anything about that. What is that?
It's like a mitzvah of saying that whatever, if you count in the Torah the amount of mitzvot you have, that there's 613
In the Torah.
in the Torah. Yeah.
So does that mean that there are like 613 different mitzvot? Well, first of all, a mitzvah is a good deed. I think we should start there. Let's not take for granted that everybody knows that. And you're supposed to do.
It's not just a good deed. It's also making a blessing. Before you drink.
Okay.
Going into a sukkah is well, that's a whole controversial thing. Don't never mind that. There's a book this thick written about that. But
I would
there's,
like to hear about that, but okay.
it's not just doing a good. It's not helping a lady across the street.
But that is a mitzvah.
That's a mitzvah. That's helping your elderly. But it's
Okay.
all falls under somehow the rabbis came down that it's 613 mitzvot. So that's a number.
But does that mean that like there are 613 mitzvot that we can do, or does that just mean those are the 613 in the Torah?
Those are the 613 in the Torah, like the mitzvah of putting on tefillin, not for you. Putting on the tefillin.
Because it's a patriarchy. But we
It's
can
a-
talk about that
it's-
on a different episode.
Yeah. So that was the. I mean, I don't want to set you off right now and
I'm
get this whole
I'm
conversation.
so close
I'm
to
so
it.
not in the mood for that right
so
now.
close to it.
I have a nice young writer over here who grew up without cell phones. I'd rather focus on him and his writing experience than trying to explain Judaism to you. But there are. It is nuts when you explain. I had to explain to somebody this week. I'm going to Pidyon Haben.
Mm.
Do you know what that is?
I do. But
I would love to hear you explain
wait,
Pidyon
I'm
Haben.
gonna fly off the handle with the feminism thing again, though.
Don't just.
No, I can't not. I
Okay,
can't
so-
talk about these things without.
Do you know
'cause
what a
it's
Pidyon Haben is?
enraging.
Is that the hair one or the when you pay money one?
Do you know the hair one?
The cutting your hair when you're 3
When
years
you're 3 years
old.
old.
I know
No.
it's one of
Also
them,
a
right? Which one is
mitzvah.
it? The money one?
No, it's money. Money's in all of them, but it's the money one. Yes,
Yeah,
you
okay.
buy the child back from the Kohen. I mean, when you explain this
You-
to somebody who's not Jewish,
You have
it
to
blows-
explain it.
It's if you have a child. I hope I can explain this well. If you have a child that is firstborn to a family that's not a Kohen or a Levi. And then you have to explain what that is.
Yes,
Never
he's a-
mind. You know what that is?
Yeah,
There's a family lineage to either the priestly or the Levites family. And it was born not natural birth. And there's like a few other checklists. So it's not often that you have this, but if you do have this, then you have a ceremony where there's a Kohen and you give him 5 coins and then he sells you your baby back. I'm really doing a bad job of this.
No,
Not-
that's exactly
Is
what
that
the
what
rule
it
is.
is?
That,
Yeah.
you nailed
Did I-
it. It sounds, no matter what, it's going to sound crazy, but that's what it is.
There's a reason it sounds crazy.
So
No, 'cause
zombie
it's beautiful.
roommates. So zombie roommates. Back to
wears-
zombie roommates. I'm just kidding.
Episode 1, he has a pidyon haben.
No, everything we have in
No,
the Jewish
no, no.
religion, if you connect to it spiritually, if you don't just do it as a ceremony that's catered, it's an amazing thing for the parents to connect. This is so special. We have a child, and
You know what? I am not disputing that, but I think that oftentimes, number one, it is just an event that's catered with like egg salad
100%.
and, spittle coming out of. But
You couldn't just leave it at egg salad.
No.
You had to give us the picture of the woman with the little egg salad. Yeah, we were coming Thursday, but we ended up leaving Wednesday. And you see the egg salad coming out of her mouth.
it's a good visual detail for the people who are just listening.
Yeah, there are things that we do that are really out there when you.
Yeah, I mean,
when
it's total. It sounds totally
It sounds
berserk.
out there, but it's if you connect to it spiritually, it's amazing.
Somebody explained it well to me, like, oh, it's crazy to think you have ancestors who did the same thing as you.
Yeah.
Like, when you can connect to it that way. Like, not every single thing, but if you can find the thing that matters to you.
And there's
nice.
obviously I mean, I talk about it on stage, and it's comedy, Talk about the eruv, the string. We did that one time on the show.
That's my favorite.
The rope that's round, but you connect to it spiritually, not religiously, and it's miraculous.
Listen, there's something really beautiful about it. I have a son, and I was actually explaining to him this morning on the way to school, because his grandparents just got here from Israel today, about how, he said Shabbat Shalom on FaceTime when they landed. And so he asked me, and my mother-in-law is pretty observant.
Oh.
Now you like me more.
I liked you.
Come over for Shabbat dinner now.
Oh yeah, totally. She's tried to burn down my house, like with the candles that have to run all night. I mean, the whole thing. I'm not allowed to touch them. Anyway, so he's asked me Shabbat is that how you say Friday? And I, explain, no, it's actually tomorrow and the sundown and the sunset. And then that there are different kinds of religion, and that some people it's about praying and going to synagogue, and some people it's about what they eat or what they don't eat. And, you're not allowed to eat shrimp. And he said, well, Abba, which means father, it's close father. My husband's Israeli, and I deserve a statue erected in my honor for that.
And you got exactly what you deserved. Silence. Silence. You think because you're married to an Israeli guy, you deserve an extra credit?
Do you know what a nightmare it is to be married to an Israeli guy? I mean, it's not easy. It's not an easy.
Hi, I'm an Israeli guy.
Well, I mean, first of all, you grew up here, so it's a little bit different.
Okay.
But anyway. And he said, well, his father's religious because my husband puts on tefillin every morning.
As do I.
Yeah. And I said, well, he's not really religious, super religious, because he also does a lot of other things that aren't religious. And, he eats.
So he puts them on spiritually.
Yeah. He says it's like yoga for his mind. That's what my husband
100%.
said. So, and I said, but, he eats shrimp. And so Ari,
she just throws him under the bus.
If my mother-in-law is listening,
he's gonna be up in heaven. He's gonna be up in heaven, and he's gonna say to God, "I put on tefillin every day," and then he's gonna hit play. My husband ate shrimp every day of his life, and he loved it.
And so my little 8-year-old looks at me, and he said, "Well, then I'm very religious too because I don't eat shrimp."
You can't.
So
It's cute. But
He's a good Jew. That's
putting on tefillin has nothing to do with it. For me, I don't do it so I can tell people I put on tefillin. You wake up in the morning, and one of the first things you do is you wrap this leather around your left hand, because the connection is you're restricting. In my head, I don't want the rabbis can give you 1,000. It's written in the Torah, and there's the prayer that protects your house is on the head and near your heart, and then you wear this. And it kind of reminds you to restrict what you're taking. Like, don't just grab everything. Don't be a nemster. Don't be a taker. Don't forget to give. So there's a little restriction going on to remind you to hold back a little bit. That's my connection to tefillin.
That's so interesting. I have never heard it described like that before. That is fascinating. It really is.
It literally is. It connects me to this protective energy, the Shema Yisrael, the one that's written on the door, to protect the home and all that.
I didn't know that. That's what's up there.
That's what's written in the.
I didn't know that.
In the tefillin on your head, and there's compartments, and it's written these beautiful little scroll. And every few years, I go and get them checked to make sure that the letters aren't off. And I have a pair that my aunt bought me from Israel, from one of the biggest sofas, and it's like the most gorgeous print, and it's in both of my. Tefillin and rosh and shel for the head and the arm, and it is an amazing way to begin your day. It's just, there's an energy in the world. I need to connect. I need to restrict what I'm taking, make sure I'm giving, a balance kind of a thing. And I, it's funny, this past Sukkot, we had the holiday of Sukkot. It's 8 days ish. And because Shabbat lands in the middle, the Sabbath lands in the middle over there. But you don't put on tefillin during those days. And on yesterday was the first day I put it back on. Like, you miss it.
Why don't you put it on during those days?
Because those days are.
All right, we can save that for the next episode.
I can't. You know what? We're gonna do an episode, just you and me, with all of your questions.
Okay.
And we'll get, and those are the answers I have for you. It's nothing is religious. I don't do anything religious. I do it spiritually. If I can grow spiritually from whatever I do, lighting a candle Friday night, all these things are spiritual. The talit you wear. Did your husband wear a talis? Mm-hmm. Did you give him the talis?
No.
Oh.
Should I?
Yeah.
I just like it because it's like black leather, and it's like feels like a little bit like S&M-y to me, like what it looks like, and so it's kind of sexy.
Now you put tefillin into Tom of Finland.
That might be someone else who's into it for that reason.
I'm a very big fan of Tom of Finland.
Okay, but
which we can also share with the audience. They might not know that.
We are not doing Tom of Finland on this episode, but no, the talis. When you give your husband the talis, right? Yeah. It's your spouse now. Mm-hmm. So now here he is, and talis, the talit that you wear, the prayer. Look, he's like,
prayer
oh my
show.
God, what happened to the comedy discussion?
I love this. The one thing I was thinking.
We ran out of topics for you. Now it's me and Perry.
Well, no.
Did your wife give you a talis?
My dad bought me a talis, but like at the wedding I put it on.
No. So I'll give you what a talis is to me.
Okay.
Now I told you what tefillin are to me.
Okay.
So your spouse gives it to you.
Okay. This is a prayer shawl that you wrap around.
It's a prayer shawl. It has a lot of other technology in it, spiritual technology. All the tzitzis, the strings that come out of it. There's all technology.
You have to explain what these things are.
The Lubavitcher Rebbe said that in tefillin, there's more technology than any computer in the world.
That I just got goosebumps.
It's a thing. It's a thing. And
there's a lot of technology in computers, though.
Yeah, but not like this. Not like this. And your talis that you get from your spouse.
Yeah.
When you get married, it's the power of Ol Makif, surrounding light. Right.
Okay.
So now every morning you put this on before you put your tefillin on, before you do anything. Before you do your prayers or whatever connection you have, right? And you wrap it around you, and you put it around your whole body. You wrap it over your head and through here, and you say the prayer. And I always say Ol Makif, which is surrounding light, to connect to that. And then you put it on your shoulders, and it's like almost like your spouse is hugging you. It's a very, very nice connection. And that's what a talit should be. So you should have been the one that gave your husband the talit. So it's you holding him.
Well, maybe I'll get him one.
I think it'd be a very good.
It's a nice present. He would like that. He's still using the one from his bar mitzvah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, what are those like? It looks like a challah cover. Those silver things that are like this big. They're this big.
No, it's not that big, but it's beautiful because it's like an old. Because we're old, it's like made, and he's from Israel, so it's like a real, authentic, like beautiful one. But I'll get him a new one. That's a nice idea.
It's funny you saying this, like, 'cause people always think like this beautiful Judaica that's all, that sometimes it's not good. It's not good. It's old and like the mezuzah. You know mezuzahs? When you have a mezuzah,
What's a mezuzah, Modi?
what's a mezuzah? It's that thing you see on the door, which has a parchment inside, and inside of that there's the Shema Yisrael prayer.
And if the tallis is giving you a hug, the mezuzah is giving you a kiss as you walk through.
I'd have to see that.
Oh,
I'd have to see that.
I'm too short for it.
I'd have to see that.
I'm too short for it, but tall people, you should see it.
No, but the mezuzah, you're supposed to see it. You're supposed to see
Yeah.
people get these beautiful mezuzahs with all kinds of stone and all, but you can't see the actual parchment inside.
Right, you're supposed to.
You're
yeah.
supposed to be able to see the parchment inside.
I didn't
And
know
I have
that.
to see it in person. I get what you were
Is that what
doing
your
now.
wife?
Yeah.
You just now
I gotta see
caught
it.
the joke
You're supposed to put it on every door, right?
on every door except the bathroom and closets, and unless you
It's a bit much.
insane closet.
It's a bit much. One like the come into the house. It's enough.
For you, that's enough. If that's enough for you, then that's enough for you. That
I
if
like
that if that
that.
works
I
for
like
you, then that works for you.
If Judaism were that, I feel like I would have a lot less of the issues that I have. I like that. That's what every rabbi should say.
That's it. I told you as your rabbi,
Yeah,
it's
you're-
not the chosen people, it's the choosing people. If one mezuzah in the house works for you and you connect to that one mezuzah, enjoy it. If one day you decide you want to bring a little more energy to the bedroom, put one on your bedroom.
You know what?
If-
You saying that makes me want to go out and get another mezuzah.
Exactly,
That's what.
yes.
As opposed to no, it has to be on every door. It has to be 4 inches from here and.
Yeah. That's just so
That
that it's not out there. But and if your cooking isn't as good as it could be, maybe you want to put one in the kitchen.
That's
you might.
hysterical. I don't cook. That's why I got married. He cooks.
Oh my God, this was fun. You are fun. You are, and we met on the internet. On
Yeah.
the internet. I'm the worst.
On the World Wide
This was
Web.
before
We met.
cell phones.
We met. We met on the machine. We met on through reaching out to on DMs and that, and I'm looking forward, and we've discussed doing some projects,
Yeah,
and
I'm very excited.
I am, and I'm glad. And it's funny, we did all these great ideas, and then we both got busy. I had to go shows and this and that, but we connect, and we're gonna do stuff together.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And I'm so happy you were here.
Wait,
and
you have to ask him a question.
oh my God, she's the best. I always forget this. Okay, so one question I ask all my guests is, who's your rabbi?
Who's my rabbi?
Who's your Rebbe, your Rab? Now, rabbi doesn't mean the guy who's in charge of your synagogue. Who's the person you go to if you have like a spiritual problem, a guru? Who would it be if you had like someone that you want to, hey, I'm not sure if I should do this or that? Who would you go to?
So my brother is a rabbi, so I definitely don't want to offend him and not say him. But for all religious questions, I go to him.
Okay.
And his response is always, well, do you want to know the answer? And I'm like, okay, I got what I need to know. But I'm gonna give a shout out. I go to my wife for everything.
Wow.
She's a good partner, and yeah, I go to her for everything. She's gonna like this answer. I don't know if everyone else is gonna be like, oh, that guy's lame. But
That's
she'll-
adorable. That's
she'll like it.
married. How long are you married?
2 years.
2 years.
Get back to me in 10.
Yes, in 10 years. 10 years, she wants to hang him with a tallis and his leather tefillin. I love you. Okay, give it to us. Where are they going to find you? Where are they going to see you? Sell it.
Look me up, Instagram, Scott Hercman. I post stuff there about all the projects, and I guess watch the Daily Show. It's where I work, so I
That's
guess
amazing.
I gotta plug that.
Yeah.
And this has been awesome.
No, you're awesome.
I can't believe like DMing you guys worked out, and I'm excited. Gonna do some awesome stuff.
That's amazing.
That's
Yes,
great.
we are. And you?
I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram at Periel Ashenbrand. That's it.
Oh, my God. Hi, I'm Modi. I'm on Modi_live on Instagram, where you can get everything there, and ModiLive.com. Shows are coming up, and please get tickets. And if you don't live in that town, tell your friends that live in that town. One of them is Port Washington on October 14th, and then I have the show in Fort Lauderdale on October 26th, and then I have a show in Chicago, Skokie, on November 9th. Please let your friends know and get tickets, and they're all going to be fun events. Hamish, just anybody can come. It's going to be really, it's just just me and you, and connecting. It's going to be a lot of fun. And connecting, my favorite thing, of course, is Cameo. Cameo.com/Modi if you want a video from me, from Yoeli, from Nir. And if you want a Yoeli cup, these have been getting to sell again. My Secretary of Simcha.
Amen.
And the handsome guy over here. Everybody, I hope you had an amazing holidays, and I think you can still say Happy New Year. Have an amazing upcoming Jewish New Year, and thank you all for listening and sharing.